Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.
Boy, legends, it is Jai, that Aussie metal guy here from Crannk'd.com and the Crankk'd podcast. Tonight, wherever you are in the world, I'm joined by a man who probably dreams in time signatures I can't even count, Sam Mooradian of the almighty Fallujah. Sam joined Fallujah officially during the Empyrean cycle, has since become a pivotal part of the new musical era, with Fallujah's new album, Xenotaph, is out worldwide June 13th through Nuclear Blast. It's a wild ride through sci-fi themes, ridiculous riffage, atmospheric bliss, and some next level musicianship that will probably make you question if you even know what a guitar is anymore. Sam, thank you for joining me, mate.
Thanks for having me, dude. That was one of the best intros I've heard ever. That was great. Appreciate it, man.
Absolute bloody
Dreams and
pleasure,
time
mate.
signatures.
I love doing those, man. It's a fucking pleasure kicking those out, mate. But for the uninitiated, mate, can you tell me a little bit about before the Fallujah madness, where all this began for you, man? Where did your musical journey start?
Yeah, it started really early. I grew up in a house where music was kind of like always a big part of the house. It's everybody who lived there. I had, my mom and my dad. I had my sister. Everybody had their own like musical kind of thing going on, their own genres that they loved, and everybody was always sharing and playing the music. And my dad's a drummer, my mom's a pianist, my sisters sang growing up. So I mean, it was just always music all the time. Even my grandparents. So I wound up picking up a couple instruments before I settled on guitar, and it was all because I listened to thrash metal and all that shit back in the day. And I just had to learn how to play a lot of those songs on an actual guitar. And then I just kept doing that. And now here we are. That's
Was there a
that's pretty much how it's summed up.
Was there a specific moment? I suppose growing up in a house like that, you're always like, man, I'm going to do something with music. But was there a moment that kind of clicked for you and gone, look, I'm doing this for life. This is going to be what I'm doing?
Yeah, whether I realized it or not, at the time, I don't think I ever decided I had to do it for life. Like I never had that thought until I was older, but I knew it. I think internally, I just sort of had to do it. Pretty early. And you know what? It maybe not like a moment specifically, but something that happened was Guitar Hero came out, and I got it, and I started playing like it. That I went from just being familiar with all the music that had been shown to me with now oh, I'm discovering all this music that is coming from this outside source. So and it was all rock and metal, so and a lot of the all the metal on there was heavier than the metal I was listening to growing up, so it was like a bigger world out there that I got introduced to. And this was in the LimeWire days.
Yep.
So for better or for worse, like I don't know, I'm in the fifth grade or something, and I'm finding all this music out there through my friends who are way more savvy about that stuff than I was at the time. But I wound up discovering bands like Job for a Cowboy and uh, Cannibal Corpse and Meshuggah. I mean, it just started flowing. Like that was it. It was just all this music all at the same time. I was like, okay, I have to play guitar. I have to learn these songs. So that was what did it really,
Yeah, and
more
your
than anything
work
else, I
your
think.
work with Inhale Existence and your solo stuff is absolutely unreal. Both dropped albums in 2023, kind of lead into diving into the Fallujah crew, which just seems to be a match made in heaven with your guitar playing. Tell me a little bit about kind of how you kind of come on board with the guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for shouting out those albums. That's where I really started to kind of come into my own, I think. I wrote those when I was in my very early 20s, and I started to feel like, okay, I got something here. Like I'm capable of writing like music that I can be really proud of. And um, so yeah, I even before those albums, I was trying to do the YouTube guitarist thing for a long time. Like I was just posting covers, and I was doing stuff that quite frankly was like kind of dumb, like learning entire albums. I say dumb, it not dumb, but dumb in the sense that it was like took a lot of effort and time when I probably could have been doing better things. I don't know, but whatever. That led me to growing my social media and my YouTube to a point where I actually got noticed by Wes Hauk, who's the guitarist of Alluvial.
Alluvial.
Um, Alluvial, yeah, and like ex-guitarist for the Faceless, and I mean, his resume is ridiculous. But anyways, so he was going to be on tour with Fallujah, and Fallujah needed a guitar player, and so Scott asked him, "Hey, do you know anybody who could be up for this?" And he suggested me just by my YouTube videos, my videos I was posting on social media, whatever. Um, and so I got put in touch with Scott. Scott reached out to me and I auditioned, and they decided to give me a chance on the road. And then that was clearly not a complete failure. And they asked me to come back for more tours. And eventually we started talking about like, okay, let's take this a step further. If you want to join the band, we'll start writing. And we kind of rolled it out slowly. I think everybody wanted to be sure that it was the right move, but in the end, here we are. Got a new album coming out and very collaborative. We all worked on it together, and so yeah. And I've got nothing but gratitude to Wes, but also to my bandmates for bringing me on. It's pretty big honor. So
Yeah, damn straight.
yeah.
Diving into Xenotaph, it's an absolutely ripping album. I've been lucky enough to have a listen to it,
Thank
and it is a
I'm
feels
glad.
like a real huge leap in sound, style, and storytelling. Bringing all you guys on, starting fresh with that, new invigoration and motivation there for Scott would be unreal as well. I know what it's like as a songwriter. I was talking to the Oblivious last night about bringing new members in and how that reinvigorates the band. So it does kind of have that feel of a
Totally.
leap forward in that sound, style, and storytelling. How did it feel jumping into the songwriting process and that? And what was the vision from the start?
The vision was we wanted to do an album that was eight tracks specifically. So a little bit more on the short side. We just wanted to be very concise. We wanted to write something that was really packed full of riffs and ideas and changes um, and we wanted to kind of pay like a tribute to our favorite albums that are also in that format. Like, you look at these eight-track records from The Faceless or Necrophagist or Cynic, and they just all have like this certain sort of a vibe to them that we wanted to emulate. We wanted to do our version of that. So that was the vision. I think it was also important that Kyle could really do his own thing in a lot of ways, Kyle being our vocalist, of course. On Empyrean, I think, I don't want to speak for him, but I'm pretty sure, and of course I wasn't there because I wasn't in the band, but on Empyrean, I think he was not he wasn't quite able to do everything as freely as I think he was on Xenotaph, because he came in as the new vocalist and he wanted to make sure that things were done in a way that wouldn't be too drastically different and also it was just the right move for the music at the time. But the right move for this music, I think, was for him to be able to go and kind of experiment, be a little more adventurous with the clean vocals and some of the melodies that he would normally put in his music. And I think he did an unbelievable job with it. And I think that's a big reason that a lot of people might feel like this record is a little bit special. It's because it has that extra sort of, I don't know what the word is, push to it. It's got Kyle, dude, and he crushed it. So, and for me, how was it coming in for me? It was a challenge for sure because I've never written a Fallujah song before, and now suddenly, it's like, hey, we're gonna start writing a Fallujah album. How do I contribute to that? Do I? So I thought about it and I thought, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write as much as I can before we start our writing sessions. I'll just do as much prep as I can, and then I'll just bring everything to the table and we'll take a peek at it. And if it's awful, then we'll go from there. Hopefully there'll be some usable stuff. And there was a bunch of ideas that wound up turning into either a song here or there or like a riff that got used or whatever it was. And and then when we were writing the rest of the album, and it was a very collaborative process the entire way through. But when Scott was doing a lot of the writing and we were in the room with him, we would just kind of help shape the music from there. So yeah, it was it was a challenge, but it wasn't hard. You know what I mean? Like it felt very natural, you know, to jump in. So
Yeah, and I
there
noticed
you
that
go.
with Kyle's vocals. It is just, he just feels like he just had a bit more confidence to experiment a little bit more. And I totally understand his thought process behind it. And the album does feel like it walks a line between the total chaos and elegant control. There are moments on this album where melodic sections feel as intense as the heavy ones. And this has come up a couple of times in
Hmm?
conversation. How do you approach that contrast as a guitarist when writing and arranging this?
You know, I think in a lot of ways it comes naturally, you know, and it comes from wanting to find those sounds. Um, more than anything else, it's just listening to the music and deciding where the music wants to go, and then fulfilling that, you know. There are times when it just makes sense for the music to break out into a more atmospheric part. Like there's a section in the Crystalline Veil where I mean it is intense. There's like we call it the Meshuggah section in that song. And you've listened to it, you know, the 5/4 part, you know,
Yeah, do, do.
that part. And then it goes into the clean section after that. Clean vocals and clean guitars, very atmospheric and um, yeah, it's that just that was just the only thing that we could do there. I don't know how else to describe it. It just makes the most sense. So the approach for me is to just, I mean, I just follow that. I follow knowing that those things have to go where we want those things in there, so they got to go somewhere, but also they want to go somewhere. You know what I mean? Like the music itself kind of tells you in a way, I guess.
Oh
So,
yeah, damn straight. And those moments when you come back into the clean and you let it breathe for a second, those makes those heavier moments even bloody heavier, you know. It lets everything kind of breathe a
totally.
little bit. When that kicks in, it's like, wow, dude. And the contrast between it all, you can really hear it in this album. Like, you guys are pushing it out there a bit, and it just sounds bloody insane. And with tracks like the singles
Thank
that have
you.
been released, like Kaleidoscopic Waves and the most recent one, Step Through the Portal and Breathe, it does have those layered atmospheres as well. How do you build those textures, and you know, kind of what gear you kind of use to help you kind of with it all?
Well, as far as the gear is concerned, one of the big pieces is an EBO. You know what an EBO is, right? It's like for anybody who doesn't know, it's a little handheld kind of gadget that you hold over your guitar strings, and there's a magnet inside that makes the string vibrate forever as long as you hold it there. So it sort of sounds like an endless kind of violin, but then whatever effects you put on your guitar, whatever your tone is, that carries over into the sound as well. So there's so many different EBO layers and that's all just Scott messing around and doing what Scott wants to do. You know, he's got the songs at home and he's like, ah, there's got to be an EBO here. And he's just, you know, we're all just like, let the man cook, you know. Um, and then there are a handful of layers there where it's you know it's not well a handful. There's tons of other layers. It's like just clean guitars and miscellaneous leads and stuff. And a lot of that again is just listening to the music and deciding what the music wants to be, man. It's like I remember one riff that I brought in that I remember Scott was like, "There's got to be a lead over that," and I go, "Yeah, I mean, that's what you hear, dude." And he had it. He put something down. It was just that was what fit best, and it worked. So, you know, I think it's just taking every section for what it is and kind of deciding what it needs to be as you're working on it. You know.
Yeah, and I was reading a little bit in the presses there. The concept is kind of Dune influenced. I'm a heavy sci-fi nerd. It's probably why I connect to the music a lot as well. What were your first thoughts
Totally.
when you kind of come in with the narrative of the record? And tell me,
I think well, it's all Kyle's concept, and I think he did a really good job with
yep.
it. It, it's It's very in depth and it's very interesting. It's this post life or rather I'm sorry, post death experience. You know, this guy kind of main character sort of I mean he just goes through this kind of celestial experience with this guide that sort of shows him his past life and takes him through these realms that are just beyond comprehension and And it takes a turn too. It's without giving too much away, it gets kind of dark and there's some changes, it's not always a happy journey for the guy. And um for sure there are some lyrics in the final track that I think when people hear them, whatever they're going through in their own lives that are dark or scary or difficult, those lyrics will speak to you. Like for me personally, I remember being, a kid and listening to music and being all angsty, and like anytime I would hear music that had any kind of a positive, or like uplifting lyric, I would cling to that, in a lot of ways. And so I can't help but feel like if I had this album back then, it would have helped me through some dark times as well. So hopefully people will get some of that out of the lyrics and the concept as well. I think it's very much open to interpretation, and I'm really looking forward to how everybody interprets it themselves, especially in the last track. I think Kyle's some of the lyrics he wrote are like just so every time I hear him, dude, it's chills every time. So straight up. So
Yeah, I've been hammering that album for the last few days. It's an absolute ripper, and that closing track is unreal. I just love the way you just set it as a full album. You can grab any of these tracks and listen to it on their own as a single, but to get the most out of it, people, you got to go out, grab the whole album, put it on your record player and headphones, and just vibe out to it as well. Tell me a little bit about the
mhm.
production team. They kind of really nailed the separation and clarity in this album as well. What was the recording process like for your parts? And did you come up against any unique challenges?
Totally. Well, we had Mike Lowe was engineering the drums in Nashville. He did an unbelievably good job, dude. And then Dave Otero, of course, did the mix and master. Again, I mean, it's like working with the best you can, it's insane how good those guys are at what they do. So props to them. Dave's mix, in the end, I mean, the final version of it is so crystal clear without sacrificing anything. I mean, he did such a good job with it. So, props to those guys for real. As far as the recording process, all the guitars were recorded at home, believe it or not. And we were able to kind of take our time with them in a different way and give them sort of the attention that I think we felt that they needed, for that reason. And basically, what we did is Scott and I had identical recording gear, like absolutely identical everything, all the settings. We even were monitoring our guitar tones with the same tones. I mean, straight up, like I had the exact same tone, exact same interface, everything. So everything was without that way, any riffs that he records that then go into riffs that I record and then back, it doesn't sound like two different guitars, even though it is. It's just one clean, like thought process basically. So yeah, it was definitely a lot of work because there's so many different parts. So I would say the biggest challenge was just getting it done, dude, because there's so much to record, so much, and so many intricacies. One thing that I will say, and I want to thank Scott for this actually, is he sort of showed me some things that I had never really thought about as in depth until I started recording this album. Like he showed me sort of like how to articulate tremolo picks and palm mutes in a way that sounds fuller
Yep.
than if you just fire it out. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing you could sit there and just record and go, that's great. But when you listen to uh, all the different ways that you can tremolo pick and all the different ways you can palm mute and choke up the strings or not, you'll find like different versions of these things are either have a little bit more bass to them or less bass or a little bit more resonance, whatever it is, more body. And so because I got to work with him on recording all the guitars for this album, I got to be a much more honed guitar player, I think, and a much more like in a positive way critical of like pick attack and palm mutes and stuff, just because now I know that there's like definitely a better way to palm mute. You know what I mean? It's like it's not something that I really thought about until then. Maybe that's not a good thing, but I'm thinking about it now, so it's all
You can
good now.
always grow and
Whatever.
evolve, mate. Kevin, you's all killed it. Kevin on
Totally.
drums, the whole band absolutely killed it. Huge thanks to you, Sam, for the ripper chat. Everybody go pre-order, pre-save Xenotaph right bloody now. It's out through Nuclear Blast, June 13th. It is a proper journey through the cosmos of sound and goal-splitting riffs. Chuck Fallujah a follow, chucking them in the stereo, crank it up really bloody loud. The neighbours going to want to hear it. Last words are on you, Sam. Shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you want to add in, mate?
Enjoy the new album. I cannot wait to hear everybody's reactions to it. I also can't wait to get it out on the road. And we will be back on the road very soon. So keep your eyes open for some tour announcements. If you're in Europe, we already announced a tour that's taking place in February of next year with Omnium Gatherum and In Morning that we're really excited about. So yeah, keep your eyes open and enjoy Xenotaph.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.